Oh, hello and welcome. Christiane here for those of us who are new to one another. We are going to be doing a little practice today on finding some space along the area of the rib cage so that we can just naturally invite a deeper breath into the lungs. What you will want for this practice as we prepare, take a couple more minutes here just to prepare, are 2 blankets. As you see here, I have the blanket side by side placed on top of the yoga mat. And that's because we're going to be spending some time lying down and kneeling, so that way you have a little extra cushion. And you also want a strap of any kind. And if possible, that you may not have this, but something weighty like a sandbag. Okay? So with all of that, we will be exploring Parivrtta Janu Sirsasana. So this is Janu Sirsasana, the head to knee pose, but Parivrtta in a twisting format. And it can be a challenging pose, but of course we are going to be exploring it with curious eyes that allows us to ask along the way a little bit more, back off a little, and maintaining the great support of alignment. So it's all in place. All we need now is for you to hop on board. So let's go ahead and take let's just go ahead and lie down on our mats to start. With the knees bent, just take a moment here to come into kneeling to this position where you're onto your forearms, to encourage the lumbar spine, a little bit of movement, a little bit of release, and then one vertebrae at a time, begin to roll yourselves down onto the ground. The palms are open. Feel the backs of the shoulders on the ground. Feel the backs of your ribs on the ground. Just notice your breath here. How deep is your breath? How rhythmic is your breath? You don't need to be changing anything right now. This is just an opportunity to observe where we are, how we're starting now. And then as you're ready, I'm going to have you roll onto the side so that your right side is under you. I have my left side under me. And then from here, you're onto your forearm, and you want to encourage those ribs, those lower ribs, to move away from the hip. So go ahead and walk your torso out away from the bottom hip. Walk it out a little bit more. So this area of the waistline just gets so gemmed up, so tight. Yeah? So here's a chance for us to create a little bit of space. And then from here, you get to choose to straighten that bottom arm all the way out. So really stretch through your fingertips. See if you can bring more of the armpit and the upper part of the arm onto the ground. You want to stretch that whole side body really long. And then maybe take your hand to the base of the skull to encourage the head to lift up off of the neck a little. But if you prefer to be just lying down like so, then by all means, yeah? And now we're going to straighten out the legs. We're starting out with Anantasana, or a variation of it. Ananta is the serpent that Lord Vishnu would lie on, a serpent couch. And Lord Vishnu being the preserver. Yeah? So here you find this couch that is really stabilizing, yeah? But as you notice, it gets a little bit wobbly, especially as you straighten the legs in a way that you're committed to be to have the legs engaged enough as if you were standing up. Yeah? And so because it gets a little wobbly, you may want to take that top hand and just you place it as like a little tripod in front of you. And now the variation of Anantasana that we'll be doing is with Vrikshasana legs. So bring that top leg onto the inner groin of that bottom leg. And so now here, we're doing a couple things in addition to continuing to create that length through the bottom side. We are working that bottom inner groin and the foot towards one another. We're working the glutes forward. And we're drawing the knee back, but not just yanking the knee back. We're drawing the knee back from the inner groin, spiraling out. And so imagine the couch here, right? The couch that holds the Lord that preserves all there is. And you want to make it as stable as you can. And the way to do that is not to run away from a little bit of wobbliness, that's natural, but it's to come back to your breath and to come back to that which in you is supporting you through this somewhat unstable shape. And so here we have the top foot and the inner groin of the bottom leg moving towards one another. Again, the glute from the back moving forward. And the length of the torso in connection with the ground. And now as you're ready, go ahead and release that top leg. And you can just flip on over to the other side, or if it's easier for you to have the camera stay where it is, then just turn on over so you can see. And here again, we're going to start out with the legs bent. Top arm is here as a support for the release of those side ribs and the waistline. But now make sure that you're not dumping into the shoulder, right? That the shoulder is well supported. And then begin to walk the arm out, perhaps even come down onto your elbow. And breathe here. The shoulders are aligned, the back of the neck is free. And then go ahead and straighten both legs if it's there for you. To straighten out the arm as well, you get to do that. Or maybe bring the hand to the base of the skull to encourage that lengthening all the way down from your perineum, lengthening all the way up to the top of the head, to the crown of the head. And as we did before, bring that top leg into Vrikshasana. So the foot and the inner groin are moving towards one another. Imagine here that you're actually doing the standing pose, that you're standing on that bottom leg. Yeah, we're gonna go there next, not next, but still in this little practice that we have together. So it's a wonderful moment just to use that support underneath us as reference to how we can find ourselves in a way that supports greater stability, right? The couch. That top knee needs to lift up a little bit more, but from the inner groin. The glutes often, I have to remind them to move forward a little bit more, to open the front of the pelvic floor, but not to grip them, just to move them forward. And then the ribs on the bottom, because that's really what we're preparing here for our big pose of Janu Sirsasana and the Parivrtta styles, the lengthening of the side body. Breathing with ease. And just feel each rib peeling away, and find maybe a little bit more space there between the area where the armpit connects to the arm and the armpit connects to the torso. See if you can allow for more space in that area. Very good, you guys. And then as you're ready, go ahead and release. And come into a kneeling position. Kneeling upright. We're going to do a variation of Parivrtta. We're going to have the gate pose. We're going to have, so Parik is gate. We're going to take a strap and place it on top of your right shoulder, my left shoulder, like so. You may not need it, but just in case, it's there for you. And then now go ahead and straighten your right leg out to the side. Placing your hands right at the area of the hips. Notice that the hip of that straight leg may be creeping up a little bit, so encourage it to move down. Encourage the hip of that bent leg to lift up. And encourage the top of the thigh of the straight leg to drop back into the bone. Breathing. And then you're not tilting onto the side, you're lifting straight ahead. Excellent. And then from here, straighten out that top arm and draw the arm in towards you. I'm going to move back a little bit more, just in case you're not getting to see the arm action. So we're going to do something unusual that it's not typically done in Parivrtta. We're doing Gomukhasana arms. So we're going to take the arm up like so, turn it back. So we're going to take it up, place the strap. That's why the strap is there. Turn it back. So you're rotating the arm. So you're really opening up through that armpit here. Okay, you're still in the leg. You're still in the pose. I'm just trying to ensure that you can see the movement here. And then lifting that elbow straight up without tensing up the neck. So the shoulders driving down as the elbow moves up. And then from this, you're going to take that opposite arm out to the side. So here we are. And then bring it in and around and catch the strap. Or perhaps catch the other hand. So here in this shape, as you continue to engage through the legs, you want to broaden through the collarbones. You want to lift that top elbow and draw the bottom elbow down. You want to make sure that the neck stays free and open. The collarbones broad. We're looking to create space, right? So even though we're in this bound position through the arms, we're looking for space. And then begin to lengthen the torso towards that straight leg. Lengthen the torso as you did when you're lying down. Yeah, so keep peeling off those ribs more and more, little by little. It's very restricted here because of the shape that we're having with the hands. But it's for a purpose so that we can move with more integrity, right? We don't get to go as far, but we get to bring more of us along. The glutes must move forward. The front of the torso opens from the groins, And then from here, you get to go ahead and release that top arm towards the leg. And then very slowly release the bottom arm as well and open the hand. And then as you're ready, bend that top arm. Place the hand to the base of the skull. And then from the perineum, lift, arc all the way around. And now you begin to feel those ribs opening up. Tilt forward just slightly to get more of the back ribs because they're so often forgotten. And then from here, come back to that neutral place. Engage through the top of the legs. Really engage. Glutes moving forward. Front of the torso is arcing up and around. In fact, the whole torso, right? It's arcing up and around. But there's more freedom here to the front of the pelvic floor. And if it's there for you, you may enjoy releasing the arm completely. Breathe. And as you're ready, come on back to that kneeling position, if that's comfortable for you. Or you can come on all the way down, tucking the toes under, giving the toes a good little stretch. And just take a moment to observe the subtle effects of what you just did. And we notice how coming into the body, right, becoming aware of this container that supports us through life. And we can sense just a little more freedom. Perhaps you feel a little bit more freedom along the area of your left lungs, yeah? And maybe not at the expense of the right lungs because they didn't get jammed up. That's something to celebrate, because that's an invitation for you to turn inwardly, to cultivate more space when you really need it, when your external world is very compressed. So let's go ahead and do the other side. So again, you're kneeling. You're going to take that strap over the opposite shoulder. This time, your left leg straightens out, taking both hands to either hips, squaring those hips. Just taking a moment here to feel that base, to feel that support, and to grow through the torso from that support. And taking the strap with the arm, reaching up. So here again, just going to give you guys that side view so that you can appreciate the arm straightening up as much as it's able to do. Taking the opposite hand to manually rotate the arm in, and then bend. And then the opposite arm is going to go like this and around to catch the strap or to catch the other hand. So of course, this makes it much more challenging to lean in the direction of the right leg, right? Than if you didn't have this idea of Gomukhasana arms. But I think that must be why I came upon it. Not to torture you, but to have more appreciation of what's going on the bottom side that is lengthening, and not take it for granted. Yeah. So again, the collarbones broaden, the top elbow lifts up, the bottom elbow goes down, and come back to your base, right? So you have one foot and one knee in contact with the ground, push into them. Encourage those glutes to move forward so that the front of the pelvis opens. And then from the perineum, lift up and begin to lengthen in the direction of that straight leg, even if you can't move very much. But stay strong in the legs, keep those hips aligned. Keep going. And when you feel that you've taken a few breaths there and you're ready to release that top arm, please do. And then the bottom arm, take your time with that one. Opening up the palm, and then bringing the hand to the base of the skull, and encouraging from the base of the spine for the whole unit to lift up. Let it all come up, lift up, and breathe. So notice here, where are you holding on to tension? Maybe it's along the eyes, maybe it's the jaw. Invite a deeper breath there. While continuing to do all these things, and find that freedom along your right lungs. As you release the arms, the top arm perhaps. Nice. Keep going. This should feel lovely, very enlivening. Nothing like using our lungs a little bit more. And as you're ready, come on back. And now we're going to go ahead and take a seat. Now, you may want to have an extra blanket handy, or no longer use this cushion type of blanket. And that is if, when you sit, you find that the spine, this natural curvature of the spine is no longer there. You begin to round. If you begin to round, then take one of the blankets and sit on it. Okay? Sit on it. All right? And then that way you find that curvature. But if you don't need it, then be on the ground, and then that's fine. So we're going to begin in Parivrtta Janu Sirsasana. So the legs are out as wide as it's comfortable for you. The toes are pointing straight up. In fact, I'm going to have my heels on the blanket as it's a little chilly outside, but here in the studio as well, a little bit chilly. Take your hands to the top of the thighs and encourage the thighs to move down. You notice that I'm just releasing a little bit side to side so I can connect more to my sits bones. And then from here, let's go ahead and take our hands to either side of our left leg. Let's bend it. Bring that foot in towards the inner groin, really close as you can. Move that inner thigh out, and so now this leg, you want it to be weighty, heavy. Yeah, you're going to move away from it. So if you do have a sandbag or something like it, you might find it useful to place it on top of the leg. Now this thigh bone, the quadriceps, all the four muscles here around the femur bone, you want them also engaged. Because as you have these muscles engaged, then the hamstring can release. Okay? So then from here, we're going to take that contraction once again and make our life with Parivrtta Janu Sirsasana a little bit more difficult to get into, but more of a full experience as well. So indulge me, please. Placing the strap right on the shoulder of the leg that is straight. Take the strap like so, straighten out that arm, rotate as you did before. So Gomukhasana, just as we did in our previous pose, gate pose, and then bring the opposite arm around. Find the strap or your hand. If you find your hand, then you don't need the strap. And then here, just notice when you have the hands back behind you, how easy it is to just lean forward. But you really want the head to rest on top of the whole torso. Yeah? Let it rest. Let it float. The collarbones broaden. One elbow's moving up as the other elbow's moving down. The legs are engaged. And just as we've been doing all along, we're going to lengthen that bottom side in the direction of that straight leg. Breathe in gently. Keep going. So lengthening the direction of that bottom leg. The side of the abdomen that is closer to that straight leg, you want to rotate it up and away from it. Rotate it up and away. Good. And when you feel that you've gone as far as you would like, you're going to take the strap around the foot and bring the forearm, the upper arm, and the elbow to the front of your thigh. Engage in the top of that thigh, and very slowly release that top arm. Open the palm, and just as we've been doing all along, take the hand to the base of the skull. And then here, invite the head to lift a little bit off of the neck. Again, the leg that is bent is fully engaged, rooted, weighty. The leg that is straight, the top of that thigh is moving into the bone so that you can release more from the back, from the hamstring. And if it's there for you to straighten that top arm, maybe catch a hold of the strap and come up and around and do that. But don't force it, or maybe you don't even need the strap at all. You can just grab a hold of the outside of the foot with that hand. But all the while, you want to feel that you are experiencing more space along each rib. So for me, it feels a bit constricted when I try to go for the full pose. So I prefer this variation. It gives me a little bit more stability from which to explore further. And awareness in the back body. Keep going. And look up. Continue to broaden through the collarbones. And as you're ready, come on back the way you went in perhaps. The hand to the base of the skull. It's a deep pose, so you might want to take a moment here with both legs straight in Upavista, just to experience what you just did. So take both hands to either side of that bent leg and straighten. And just notice the effects. It's so wonderful to be embodied. Because anxiety, worry, overwhelm, they dissipate. The mind is not on overdrive when we begin to tune into sensations in the body. So when we're ready, we'll try the other side. So we will place that strap now on the opposite shoulder. And here we'll take your right leg, bend, bring the heel into the groin as close as you can. Drive that leg as far back as you can. It's a little wider than the actual Janu Sirsasana pose. And then, because we want to make that bent leg a little weighty, we will place a sandbag or something like it, or just set the intention, for it to be a little bit more weighty. And then from here, we can extend more through the inner heel and definitely engage the top muscles so that there's more freedom through the inner groin. So here again, we take the hand through the strap. If the strap is needed, bring it up and then rotate from the outside in. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Bring that strap around. Bring the opposite arm around. All the way up and over. And here you go. The idea here is that as you use this bind, you are using the bind to experience more space. So bind is not always necessarily beneficial, right? It's only to the degree that it's allowing, that's providing us with the container to experience more space. So begin to lean in the direction of that straight leg while maintaining the broad collarbones, while maintaining the lift of that top elbow and the drawing down of the bottom elbow, while sending the abdomen, especially on the side of that straight leg, up, up, up. Keep going. And back of the neck free, like you're almost resting the head into the back of the hand. And if it's there for you to take that strap all the way around the foot, do that. Take the forearm to the front of the leg if you can. Now I still have that back arm there and I'm using it to encourage my kidneys to lift and to move forward slightly. So to assist me with that Parivrtta action, with that twist. And so here, as you're ready, begin to release the arm, the palm opens. The hand can come first to the base of the skull to invite that lift, but all the way down from the perineum. So as both sits bones continue to root down, you are lifting off of it from the center of the body. Keep going. And maybe if it's there for you to reach for that strap or your foot, by all means. And so here you can really take advantage of, if you do have the strap, of that resistance with the strap to say, oh, let me open more of the back ribs, right? Because they are so often forgotten. So really peeling off the stickiness that often happens because we just forget to use these amazing tools that we have, like our ribs, like our lungs, in order to access more life force, more prana. Keep going. So you're rooting down through that bottom arm, and maybe the arm is touching the foot, like so, wherever you may be. And you're expanding from that. The neck is free. And as you're ready, release the strap, bring the hand to the base of the skull, and ever so slowly come on up. And now with both legs bent, removing the sandbag. Notice where you are, how it feels. A lot of lateral movement. One way to release any excess tension that may be there from all the movement is actually Vrikshasana. So let's go ahead and do that. Come to standing. And here you will find that just like we did in Anantasana, right? The balance can be tricky. But just remember that you're not looking so much for the outside pose. So like say, you could have your tree pose looks like something like this, where actually the toes on the bottom foot are touching the ground. So from here, you may find that you can bring that leg all the way up to the inner groin. So the groin and the foot coming together. And then again, that length, that beautiful lift through the side body, all the way out beyond your fingertips. From the inner groin, you're moving that knee back. And the side body's lengthening. You're breathing deeply into the low lobes of the lungs, the backs of your lungs. And the front. And then slowly let it go. And the second side. So here again, you may find that as you come into this very basic position, where the foot is still down, but the foot is moving in the direction of the ankle, right? Like so. But that's as far as you need to go, because there is some internal movement going on that is calling for your attention, for your balance, and you stay there. And then from the waistline, you reach those arms up to encourage those side ribs to open more. The back ribs as well, breathing into the low lobes of the lungs. Finding that point of stillness. You don't need to go very far. In other words, your pose doesn't need to be exuberant in order for you to explore that center, that connection with yourself. And as you're ready, go ahead and let go. Now I'm going to invite you to a little bit of a Shavasana. So lying down, if you still have your blankets like so, it's lovely because you have a little cushion, and then you take another blanket for your head. If it feels a little bit chilly where you are, and then remove the blankets from under and place them over you. And as you find your way down onto the ground, just take a moment to receive that support. Maybe you don't want to associate your couch to a snake, but maybe it works for you. But in any case, a
a base, a couch, a support that is truly holding you. Those little pockets of tension, of tightness can dissolve. Even if for just a little while, that you can just let everything go. And here's where I will leave you, hopefully for at least 5 minutes, but maybe more. Just spending some time dissolving tension, but also assimilating and processing all that we did to come to this place of greater alignment. The light in me bows to the light in you.